Imagine a battle that is fought every day, yet remains mostly unseen. What does it look like? In the heart of the Middle East, an unseen battle is being waged. A battle where Iran, driven by a sense of harsh vengeance, persists against its perceived enemies. This is not a conventional war fought on well-defined battlefields with clear lines of demarcation. Instead, it is a complex, multi-layered conflict that extends beyond borders and transcends national identities. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC, is the spearhead of Iran's harsh vengeance. It's a force that operates in the shadows, often through proxies, extending Iran's reach across the region and beyond. Its Qods Force in particular is instrumental in coordinating and supporting various groups fighting for the Palestinian cause. This unseen battle is not confined to Iran alone. It has found resonance in several other countries such as Lebanon, Iraq and Yemen. These nations, each with their own historical and geopolitical complexities, have become battlegrounds in this larger conflict. They have become allies in the fight, their shared support for the Palestinian cause binding them together in this intricate web of regional politics. The unseen heroes of this battle are not just the faceless operatives of the Qods Force or the foot soldiers on the ground. They're also the people living in these countries who face the brunt of this conflict every day. They are the ordinary citizens whose lives have been irrevocably altered by this constant state of tension and conflict. Yet despite the hardships, these unseen heroes remain resolute. They continue to resist, driven by a belief in their cause and a desire to right perceived wrongs. It's a resilience that stems from a shared history of struggle and a collective aspiration for justice. The unseen battle rages on, its dynamics constantly evolving, its impact reverberating far beyond the borders of the Middle East. It's a conflict that, while often overlooked, shapes the course of history and continues to influence international relations. This is a battle that rages on, away from the public eye, fought by unseen heroes. What happens when the fighters become their own weapon manufacturers? Picture this for a moment, individuals embroiled in a conflict that seems never-ending, taking matters into their own hands. These are not just fighters, they are creators, innovators and builders. They are the self-made fighters. In this unseen battle, these warriors have begun to produce their own means of warfare. Against all odds, they are crafting the tools they need to defend their lands and their people. They are not just fighting, they are shaping their own destiny. They are crushing the security of their enemies, dealing a severe blow to their hopes for the future. This is more than a fight for survival, it's a testament to their ingenuity and determination. But let's not lose sight of their ultimate goal. The will of the Palestinian people is to realize their right to freedom and sovereignty. They are not simply fighting against an enemy, they are fighting for their rightful place in the world, they are fighting for their future. Their resilience is not just about survival, but about claiming what is rightfully theirs. These fighters, these self-made warriors aren't just creating weapons, they are creating hope. They are creating a future where they are not just survivors, but victors. They are creating a world where their children can live in peace, free from the shadows of conflict. They are the embodiment of the spirit of resistance. This isn't just a story of conflict, it's a story of resilience, of determination, and of the indomitable human spirit. It's a story of people who, even in the face of adversity, refuse to be victims. They are the architects of their own destiny. They are the self-made fighters. These self-made fighters stand as testament to the strength and resilience of a people under siege. How can a single man's legacy become a force to reckon with? This is the question we pose as we delve into the life and afterlife of Hajj Qassem Soleimani, a figure who, even after his demise, continues to shape the geopolitics of the Middle East. Soleimani was more than just a military strategist. He was a visionary who sought to create a resilient axis of resistance across the region. His efforts were not in vain. Today, we see the fruits of his labor in the form of a network of resistance that spans continents, from the dusty landscapes of Yemen to the urban sprawls of Lebanon. Soleimani's influence was not confined to the battlefield. His strategic acumen and charisma allowed him to cultivate relationships that transcended borders. His belief in the cause of the oppressed resonated with many, leading to the creation of alliances that endure to this day. He saw the potential in people and in movements, nurturing them into forces capable of standing up to oppression. These saplings, as he fondly referred to them, have grown into powerful trees, forces that bear precious fruit in the form of resistance against oppression. Across the region, Soleimani's legacy continues to inspire, from the Houthi rebels in Yemen, steadfast against a Saudi-led coalition, to Hezbollah in Lebanon, standing firm in the face of Israeli aggression. His influence is seen in the resilience of these groups, their determination to resist and their capacity to endure against overwhelming odds. Yet Soleimani's legacy is not without controversy. To some, he was a hero, a champion of the oppressed. To others, a symbol of Iran's regional ambitions and disruptive influence. Regardless of one's viewpoint, it is undeniable that Soleimani left an indelible mark on the region and the wider world. In the grand tapestry of Middle Eastern geopolitics, Hajj Qassem Soleimani was a weaver of alliances, a builder of resistance, and a beacon of resilience. His legacy, as we see today, continues to shape the course of conflicts and the fate of nations. A man's legacy can indeed shape the course of conflicts and the fate of nations. Let's delve into the role of foreign powers, particularly America and certain regional players, in this complex tapestry of conflict. The United States has always been a prominent player in Middle Eastern affairs, and its support for Israel is no secret. American military commanders have been reported to be present in Israel, managing the war arena. It's not just about strategic advice, though. America, it seems, sends substantial resources to Israel, from planes to bombs and an array of other military equipment. However, the United States is not the only player in this game. Some countries in the region, despite their public proclamations of support for the Palestinian cause, have been accused of covertly supplying Israel with equipment. Ships from these countries, ironically, sometimes carry equipment to Israel even while their leaders echo support for the Palestinian people. A stark reminder that in the world of geopolitics, actions speak louder than words. It is important to note that the support these countries provide to Israel doesn't necessarily guarantee its survival. In fact, the survival of the Zionist regime, as some call it, remains in doubt despite all this support. It's a sobering thought that military might and foreign aid are not always enough to ensure victory or survival. In conclusion, foreign involvement can indeed sway the balance of power in a conflict, but not always in the way one might think. The support of foreign powers may provide a temporary boost, but it is ultimately the will of the people involved that determines the outcome of a conflict. As we've seen in the past, even the most powerful armies can be brought to their knees by a determined and resourceful resistance. What propels people to persist in their struggle against overwhelming odds? This question brings us to the very heart of our discussion: the spirit of resistance. This spirit is what fuels the relentless struggle against Israel and its supporters. It's what compels the oppressed to rise up, to fight, to demand freedom and sovereignty, even when faced with challenges that seem insurmountable. This spirit of resistance is not a fleeting emotion. It is an enduring force that is deeply ingrained in the hearts and minds of those who dare to resist. It is a flame that burns brightly even in the face of sanctions, pressure, martyrdom, and wars. It is a force that is relentless, unyielding, and unstoppable. This spirit of resistance is not just about fighting against oppression. It is also about standing up for justice, for human rights, for the freedom and sovereignty of the oppressed. It is about refusing to be silenced, refusing to be defeated, refusing to give up. The fighters we've spoken about today, from these self-made warriors to the legacy of Hajj Qassem Soleimani, are all embodiments of this spirit of resistance. They face daunting odds, they endure hardships and sacrifices, yet they persist. They continue their struggle, driven by a deep-seated belief in their cause and a steadfast commitment to their fight. This spirit of resistance is not limited to a single generation. It is a legacy passed down from generation to generation. It is a flame that continues to burn brightly, fueling the struggle for justice, for freedom, and for sovereignty. Despite the challenges, despite the setbacks, despite the overwhelming odds, the spirit of resistance persists. It endures, it grows stronger, and it continues to bear the fruits of truth's victory against overwhelming odds. The spirit of resistance continues to grow from generation to generation, bearing the fruits of truth's victory against overwhelming odds.